Figure out that.
I actually have a question for the park. Doing Zoom.
Okay, sorry for the delay, y'all. Welcome back to the MREA series, we're almost done, second last one. Get the legal stuff out of the way here, also, if you need the presentation stuff. You can scan, or the student manual, you can scan the code and it'll take you to like a PDF Google Drive thing that you can. Download, print, do whatever you want with. Telemarketing, TCPA rules, regulations, all that kind of stuff. Please make sure that you are abiding by the do not call list. This is for informational. This is not a guarantee of anything happening in your business, just informational. Commissions are entirely negotiable. Fair housing, don't discriminate, please. Pretty please. Can fair warning, AI, please double check AI. I'm a huge proponent for ChatGPT, but please make sure that you are going through and reading what ChatGPT is spitting out for accuracies and all that kind of stuff. Copyright, we're mostly talking about obviously the MREA, so everything that is pulled out of that is copyrighted and those things. Okay. So, welcome back to the MREA series. Today we shift our focus from managing money to managing growth. Because once you have leads, listing, and a working budget, the question becomes, how do I keep growing without burning out? That's what this session is all about. Structuring for growth through leverage. We'll walk through the organizational model in the MREA and show you how to identify the right time to hire. Build your business around talent, not tasks. Use leverage to multiply your time and results, and set up your organization to support long-term success. If you've ever maxed out, if you've hit a ceiling of achievement, if your business feels like it only works when you work, then this session is for you. Because real success isn't just about doing more, it's about doing less of the wrong things and more of the right things. So let's dive in. Take a look at the chart. This is the 7th level organization model from the MREA. This is what it looks like to build a business that can run without you. Let's walk through it from the bottom up, step by step. Because each level is a stage of growth, and every role in this chart exists to help you get out of the weeds and into a leadership role. Sorry, I should have said this when we started. This is a 6-part series. Yes. This is a 6-part series. We are on part 5. If you have no idea what we're talking about, I do actually suggest you leave this right now and go back and start at 1, watch 1, 2, 3, 4, and then come back to this, because a lot of this is not going to make sense because we are, 5/6 of the way into the book essentially. So stick around if you want, but if you start to feel lost, I do suggest you go back to the beginning. So level 1, you, the agent. You start by doing it all. Lead gen, showings, paperwork, marketing, admin. It's hustle heavy and you're trading time for money. Level 2, you add administrative support. Your first real leverage hire is a director of operations or executive assistant. Someone to take administrative tasks off your plate. This is your first step towards multiplying your time. They handle transactions, marketing, systems, and customer service so you can focus on listings and lead generation. Now, super important, we are talking level 2 is adding admin. Level 2 is not adding a TC. Level 2 is not adding buyer's agent or showing agent. Level 2 is hiring an admin. Your first hire will be hiring an admin. Level 3, your second hire, is hiring sales support. Next, you bring in a buyer specialist. Now you're not the only one handling buyers, which frees you up to focus on listings, lead gen, and leadership. You're starting to generate more income through others. Level 4, add more sales leverage. You bring on a listing specialist, a showing assistant, or even a second buyer's agent. At this level, you're running a team, not just doing more deals. You're still in production seat, but your time is increasingly spent in leadership and business development. Level 5, you hire a director of sales. This is a huge shift. Now a sales manager or director of sales is leading your sales team, coaching, recruiting, tracking results. You're stepping even further back from production and into the CEO seat. Level 6, you build a leadership team. Now you've added a full director of operations and a director of sales, and potentially a director of marketing or training. You're fully out of the day-to-day, and the business runs through leaders who manage their divisions. Your job now is vision, accountability, and culture. Level 7, a business that runs without you. This is the goal. At level 7, you can step away from the business and it will still grow. You have a CEO or team leader running your company while you own the business as an asset. This is how top agents move into expansion, investing, coaching, or whatever's next, because they built true business, not just a job. This chart isn't just about adding people, it's about creating a structure that supports sustainable business. You don't build a 7th level overnight, but you get there one intentional hire at a time. And it starts when you decide to stop doing everything yourself. Next, let's talk about where you are on this chart and what might be the next hire. So in your participation guide, we just went through level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4. Then the next page was level 5 and 6. Then 5 and 6 again. And 6 and 7. So we went through, we can see what all of these different ones look like. So that's where we're at right now. Okay? Yeah. Let's break down the difference between two of the most important types of leverage in your business: admin support and sales support. Admin support works on the business. These are your operational partners. They handle transaction and listing coordination, marketing, database management, and email campaigns, scheduling, paperwork, tools, and systems, and making sure everything runs smoothly behind the scenes. This role creates consistency and efficiency so you can stay focused on generating business. Sales support works in the business. These are your buyer's agents, showing assistants, or listing specialists. They handle buyer and seller consultations, showings, offers, inspections, and closings, lead follow-up, appointment setting, and nurturing. This role helps you multiply your production capacity, especially when your pipeline is full and you can't be in 2 places at once. Here's the key distinction. Admin support gives you back your time. Sales support helps you grow your income. You need both, just not at the same time. And that's what we'll talk about next and who to hire first and why. But first, take a moment and ask yourself, what are you currently doing that someone else could do better or for less? Such a good question. Let's start with one of the biggest mindset shifts in career visioning. You don't hire for resumes, you hire for talent. Yes, skills matter, but skills can also be trained. Talent is how someone naturally thinks and behaves. It's what they'll bring to your business even when no one's looking. Look for people who have a pattern of achievement, those who rise to the top no matter what, no matter where they are. Ask, have they shown initiative, ownership, hunger, growth? Because ultimately we're not hiring help, we're looking for future leaders. Career visioning works because it's a system, not a gut feeling. This process includes the KPA. This helps you understand how they think, where they thrive, and how they're wired. A career history interview. You validate their story and look for patterns over time. Motivation-based interviewing. Asking questions that reveal what drives them, how they responded to challenges, and how they make decisions. This process gives you a clear picture, not just what they say, but of who they really are. When you follow the model, you make better hires. One of the biggest mistakes we make is hiring someone who's capable, but not aligned. So ask yourself, do they align with your values and vision? Do they care about what you care about? Can they grow with the role, not just stay in it? We want people who fit the culture and feel the mission, not just fill the job, because misalignment costs time, energy, and trust. When someone is aligned culturally and sees the future with you, they'll grow faster and stay longer. It's not enough to hire talented people. They also need to be in the right role. That means your strengths match the seat they're in. You might have an amazing hire, but if they're miscast, they'll underperform or burn out. So ask, are they energized by the work? Do their natural strengths match the job? Will they thrive, not just survive in the seat? Because we're not just solving today's problem, we're building for the future. When you hire with vision, you don't just fill a gap, you unlock potential. They talk in the MREA a lot about the difference between. Cul-de-sac. Hire. And talents, what's the word I'm looking for? So a cul-de-sac hire, is like somebody who's gonna come in and just do the job. That's it, that's all they'll ever do. They'll do it well enough, but that's all they'll ever do. And then you have hiring talent, which is gonna do the job and then ask for more. And then ask for more, and then ask for more. Cul-de-sac talent is a right now hire, they're not a long-term hire. So you wanna make sure that you're finding the right hire. So we're gonna make this real for a minute, and Heather's the only one in here, so she's been volunteered.
Okay.
We've talked about the career visioning process, and one of the most powerful tools in that process is the KPA. This helps us understand how someone thinks, what drives them, and where they'll be the most effective. So let's do a quick demo. I've actually done this with Heather already, so this is gonna be fairly easy. Thank you for being brave, even though you were chosen. We're gonna walk through a few sections of her KPA, just like we would if we were considering her for a role. So this is gonna be a little bit different than what we've done, because we just were verifying your KPA. As I ask these questions, I want you to watch that we're not looking for right or wrong answers, we're looking for insights and alignments and patterns, okay? So I've got Heather's KPA here. You can ask us for this KPA, we will send the link. And we will send it from your email so that when they finish it, you get the results of this KPA. The first page, let me see if I can, hold on, I'm gonna do something. Maybe. Here we go, okay. Okay, so this is the first page of the KPA. Now you can't really see it, but this is going to have their role. When you're doing a job fit report, that is, this is a 45-minute one instead of the 10-minute one. It's gonna have the role on the top, and it's gonna give you a ranking of where they are at in the role. And then it's gonna give you all the contributing factors to the role. From there, so this is super great information. From here, I usually give this to the person and let them look at it, let them ask any questions, works, so that's fine. And then we can go on to the next page. The next page has it split up, it's so hard to read, I'm so sorry. It's all after you, it's gonna have all of the higher impact things, where they score on it, medium impact into low impact. Okay, so for example, this is for single agents. She did her KPA job match for single agent. So the highest impact personality trait to a single agent is intensity. Okay, so for intensity, she's kind of like right at the top of the box. You can see the gray box is like where they want you to be in each thing, and then the black square is where they actually lie. So like you can see on this one, she's not quite at the very end, but she's almost at the end. You can see in this one, she's outside of where they want her to be in here, okay? So on intensity, it's gonna tell you what it kind of has surmised about your person. So it says, Heather experiences a strong reaction to obstacles at work as they present themselves. Although she may occasionally have a visible reaction, much of her response will be internal and may be difficult to see from the outside. Then she's got adaptability, responsiveness, vocabulary, assertiveness is in the low impact for this job. So for her assertiveness, she's outside of the realm on this one. So it says Heather is a conservative individual who has the ability to work independently. She may seek to establish her own methods, and she often prefers to work without strict guidelines and procedures. Right, so and then it's gonna give you the rest of them on the back here. Then it's gonna talk about operating style. This is super important for you. A person's behavior, thinking traits combined together in unique ways to impact the way she or he works with and communicates with others. Okay, so it's gonna tell you her communication style. Heather is a courteous and socially reserved person who interacts most effectively with people under loosely structured work conditions. She likes to have a good grasp of what people expect, but she will want to develop her own methodology for accomplishing her objectives. She's not outgoing or gregarious. She is most at ease when she can exercise independence in her actions, will not encounter a great deal of opposition from others in implementation. When interacting with familiar people, she can be more expressive. Characteristically, however, she avoids imposing or promoting her views in a certain or forceful way. This is super important. If you are hiring somebody to keep you in line, this is probably not a great match for that role. Because if you're hiring somebody who's going to keep you on track as you need to go, you need somebody who's going to communicate assertively, right? So that's going to give you a descriptive review. Heather's traits do not exist in isolation of each other. Each trait impacts the others. Below is an integrated view of Heather. As you read this section, consider how Heather might perform as a single agent. So you're going to read that. You're going to know all of these things, okay? The next thing is going to be a job consideration. So again, it's going to show you the mismatches, so anything that has, oh my gosh, a yellow on it, and then where it's a mismatch, and then it's gonna give you considerations. So Heather is a mismatch for assertiveness. She is low on the assertiveness scale. So the assertiveness job target is medium. People with medium assertiveness are able to move forward while still being able to consider input from others. Heather scored significantly below the assertiveness target. So she may not want to confront others at all, even when it clearly needs to happen. She may stop to listen to the advice of others rather than assert her own opinion of what needs to happen. So, based on her personality, be aware of that, right? If this is an exact opposition to what you need from your staff, good enough, right? Optimism, this is one that's super interesting. A lot of people score high on this one, especially for a single agent. So if you look at this, so this is optimistic and this is like pessimistic on this other end. They want you to be like essentially super pessimistic. A lot of people score high on the optimism when it comes to the single agent one. And this one's my favorite. Optimism job target is low. People with low optimism tend to be skeptical of others' claims. They often worry about what might go wrong or what should be done in events they don't adhere to plan. Heather has a high optimism. This is going to be super common for a lot of you single agents. She may ignore signals that things are not going well. She may not spend any time or energy making plans for what could possibly go wrong. So the consideration is be aware of that. Like, so as a single agent, things are going to go wrong. Inspections are going to come back bad. Those type of things. So you need to be aware of that. Okay.
Hold on.
So it's gonna cover any of the ones that are not in range, and then you've got your
Yes.
trait definitions for behavior, your trait definitions for thinking. Okay. Now we get into our job fit consulting guide. Sorry, okay. So this is where we start the verification process. It's gonna give you instructions on how to use this guide. You can check stuff off if you go through it. It's even got scripts in here, so like, step one, prepare for the interview, thoroughly review the job fit report, study the script and probably questions, check your mindset, stay neutral, curious, listen, watch your body language. It's not a conversation. Other than asking questions, don't engage with her and share personal experiences. So, conduct the interviews, giving me the script. Heather, thank you for coming in today. The reason I wanted to meet with you is to get to know you better and understand some of the things that are important to you. At the end of our discussion, we can both determine if it makes sense to continue our conversation. I'm sure you are curious about the KPA you completed for us, and I'm excited to share the results. The report we have received describes a unique combination of traits. Each trait has beneficial aspects, so remember that there is no good or bad combination of traits. My goal is to truly understand who you are and how you operate, and review and edit the report together to get a custom report that is all about you. You're going to hear some great things about yourself. Be proud of who you are. Ready to get started? And then it says big smile. Okay. So then you're going to follow the instructions. decided Heather is a good fit, review the report. It says stop, if Heather is not a match, stop, don't spend your time going all the way through it, if she is a match, move forward. So, that gets us into the verification part of the KPI. So. Well, there's not in here anymore, we're just gonna talk about this. So. Read the instructions, right? Read each statement about the trait to Heather and ask her how the statement sounds to her. Follow with one or more probing questions that are provided for each trait. Be sure to dig into each example. She gives you statements like, tell me more, give me another example, walk me through, okay? Questions, not adding into the thing, okay? So for the first one, intensity. On a scale of 1 to 10, how accurate would you say each sentence is? Now you're gonna read the sentence. Heather experiences a strong reaction to obstacles at work as they present themselves. Although she may occasionally have a visible reaction, much of her response will be internal and may be difficult to see from the outside. Pause. Ask her. On a scale of 1 to they should already be thinking about this, they should already be, you need to repeat the question on a scale of 1 to 10, how accurate would you say each sentence is? Then they are going to give you a rating, okay? In this guide, it tells you what to say based on what they say. So if it's a 10, you're gonna ask what makes it a 10. If it's a 6 to a 9, what would you change in the statement to make it a 10? If it's a 1 to 5, tell me how you are not. Then you're gonna make notes, like you can take each sentence and you can put a number. If they break it apart by like, well, the first sentence is 10, but then the second one is an 8, and then the last one is a 2. Break each sentence down. There are probing questions on here. All of us have times when we get frustrated with something at work. Some people express their frustration outwardly, some keep it contained. Which one best describes how you typically react? Give me examples of a couple situations where this has occurred. That's one of the probing questions. Then we've got, think about a time when you felt your boss was not making the right decision. How did you deal with the situation? Okay. Then we've got the dig deepers. Tell me more. What's another example? Walk me through. Give an example of how that shows up in your job, at home, with your friends. Okay. You're gonna go through this. There's one for each of the categories. All of the different behavior things. Some have more probing questions than others. Some have considerations. So like her assertiveness has a little consideration down here. Okay. So again, it's like warning you, consider. You're gonna go through this, and then that's gonna help you know if everything on here is a 5 or 6 or lower. Something probably happened when they were taking the test, and none of these results are ones. If they're getting 9s and 10s as they're going through this, the results are better, right? It's gonna make sense as you go through it. You can have ones that are totally off and others that are on. Some of these. I mean, nothing's perfect, right? So there's that. Next is gonna be operating style. This is gonna be the same thing. Heather's behavior traits combined together in unique ways to impact the way she works with and communicates with others. Read each statement below to Heather. Ask Heather to assess the accuracy of each statement on a scale of 1 to 10. And then you ask Heather, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate the accuracy of the following statements? And then you read it. This one's about operating, so communication. She's courteous and socially reserved person who interacts most effectively with people under loosely structured work conditions. She likes to have a good relationship, and she's gonna give you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate it? I like to then kind of do the same probing questions, what would make it a 10? What do you disagree with? All of that kind of stuff. Okay. Now is the descriptive review. So you can read this to her and ask her to rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. I also am not opposed to handing this to them and asking them to rate it as they read it, or read it and then rate it, however you're most comfortable with. You'll know kind of as you're going through the other part of this, like how well they're doing with being read to and that kind of stuff. Then you got your candidate report rating. Use the spaces below to verify the overall report with Heather. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate this report? It's accurate, all that kind of stuff. Specifically, what was the most accurate about the report? What was, did you say, is the least accurate? And then what are your overall comments? So again, this is gonna be a great. None of it was correct, it was all wrong, none of that felt like me. Right? Then you get into the thought process interview, what did you do to prepare for this interview? What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? Give 2 or 3 specific instances when you were trained really well. How do you set goals? There are 30 questions in this. What are your long-term career goals? This is kind of where you're gonna find whether or not they're gonna be aligned with you or not. And then you're gonna check references, okay? Is a sheet in here that they can fill out. They have to sign that they have permission, give all of their references, and then you are going to use this reference check worksheets. To call and make notes, make copies of this, we like to call references. That they've been given, and then when we talk to the reference, fill out all this information, and then we ask that person. Who else they know that we could talk to about them, and then we call that person too, so usually. We do that 3 times, so usually for each person, we've called about 9 references, okay? Then you can do your life story interview, again, just follow the instructions. We like to do the life story in front of a whiteboard or a piece of paper or something where you can write it down. Your entire script is here. And then you've got your motivational interview, same thing with this one, big piece of paper, whiteboard, you're gonna draw 4 quadrants. You're gonna have job on top, money, and then they get to pick the bottom 2 priorities, so you can give them examples. Of what the bottom 2 priorities would be, a lot of times we see like health, what were mine? I don't even remember what mine, I just don't actually have a picture of mine, from when. I did this when I was interviewing for this role. We do suggest that you let them take a picture of it as well. So that they can see it, they can reference back to it, all of those kinds of things, let me see if I can find. It wasn't here, I didn't delete it the last time it was. Sorry, guys. So. Found it. So mine were health and experiences were my other 2 priorities. I don't know if you can. See this, but like this is what my whiteboard looked like after. My thing. So my 4 quadrants and then, the left-hand side of this was the life thing. Okay, where you went through the events of the life, okay, so. You're gonna go into it, you're gonna prepare it, it's also gonna give you options for, group interview. Expectation and offers, expectation conversation. Offer, got a blank offer letter in here. Orientation schedule, all that kind of stuff. So that's your KPA. If you have not been through the KPA verification before, and you wanna go through one. Let me know, I can send you the KPA. And we can walk through, all of those things, so. The KPAs are fun, I nerd out about them, I love them. Again, if you've not been through one, you're kind of missing out, so please make sure that you schedule a time with me or Justin. Or Jackie, or whoever you're comfortable with on the leadership team to go through your KPA, I promise. It will be great information, so I hope that was helpful.
And then once you've done it, like you said, you can plug it into
Yes.
GPT
Yes,
and it'll give you space to strengthen yourself.
yeah, if you have not done this before, or if you have done this KPA before, but you haven't done what we're about to talk about. Let me know, I can send you your KPA, I took, for me, because of what I do in my role. I took my KPA and uploaded it into ChatGPT and asked it to give me, like my recruiting style. What kind of recruiter am I? What things can I do to help better my recruiting, right? Did the same thing with Heather's, but we asked it, what is my lead gen style? You can ask it all sorts of stuff.
And how to work on my assertiveness, sociability and structure.
Yeah. I really like the lead gen style because it'll help come up with ideas for things that are based in your personality. And it might give you some really great ideas on all of that. So the KDA is a really awesome tool. You mix it with ChatGPT and it does a lot. Okay. Let's talk about identifying your first leverage point and how to know when it's time to make that move. The truth is, most agents wait too long to hire. They wait until they're overwhelmed, burned out, or missing opportunities. But the model teaches us to hire proactively and not strategically. So ask yourself, what am I doing right now that someone else could do better or faster? What tasks are outside of my 20%? Outside of lead generation, appointments, and negotiating contracts? Where am I spending time that doesn't actually move the needle on my income? Your first leverage point is often the bottleneck between you and consistent lead generation. Now let's be clear, your first hire according to the MREA is not a part-time transaction coordinator. It's not a buyer's agent. Your first hire is an administrative assistant, someone who can come alongside you, help build the systems and handle the details that pull you away from growing your business. They can take over listing input and coordination, client communication and scheduling, marketing, mailers and database touches, smart plans, social media, and graphic design, and yes, eventually manage transaction files too. This person becomes your leverage foundation. So when the business grows, you're not the one stuck doing all the things. So take a moment to reflect. What are you holding on to out of habit or fear? What could someone else take off your plate so you can focus on your 20%? Don't wait until you're maxed out to hire. Hire before the ceiling hits, not after. That's how business owners think. No matter where you are in your journey, just getting started or already producing, one of the most powerful things you can do is begin to think like a business owner from day one. Because you're not just in real estate, you're building a business. That means making strategic decisions about your time, your habits, and your systems. Not just doing more, but doing the right things. It starts with a mindset shift. You are the CEO of your business, even if you're the only one in it right now. Your time is your most valuable asset, and how you spend it determines how fast you grow. Systems and structures, not just effort, are what will carry your success forward. Now here's the important part. You don't have to wait until you're overwhelmed to start preparing for leverage. Start now by documenting your daily tasks, what you do and how you do it. Creating simple, repeatable systems. Tracking your time and noticing what pulls you away from your top 20%. Getting clear on what you'll eventually need to delegate or automate. That way, when it's time to grow, you won't just be hiring out of exhaustion. You'll be hiring from a place of clarity and momentum. The goal is to run your business intentionally, not reactively. So ask yourself, if I were already thinking like a business owner, what would I be doing differently starting today? Take a moment to reflect on that. Before we close out, let's take a moment to reflect. We've covered what it looks like to structure for growth. Not just by doing more, but by doing less of what doesn't move the needle. We talked about thinking like a business owner, identifying your first leverage point, understanding the roles of admin and sales support, and using the organizational model as a roadmap to build a business that lasts. Whether you're ready to hire tomorrow or just planting the seeds today, this model gives you clarity on where you're going and how to get there without burning out. So let's open it up. It's gonna be hard because it's just me and Heather here. What's your aha from today? What shifted for you in mindset and clarity and what you're now committed to doing differently? Let's hear.
Alright, so for me, that next hire would be an admin.
Mhm.
And that the admin and the transaction coordinator are two separate roles.
Yes.
I was under the impression that they're same person.
So they can be, like I said, like eventually the admin. Yours. Again. Eventually the admin would get to the point where they're doing, taking care of the transaction coordination part. But to start, they were doing the non-money making activities. Technically, your paperwork is still a money making activity. If you're not doing your paperwork, you're not making money, right?
Well, and if you're not loading it in command, you can't get commission.
Yeah. So to start, you're gonna take so like what it talks about of like, right now, build an SOP for everything you do right now as a solo agent. What does every single day look like? What are you doing throughout the day? So that you know what's pulling you from your 20%. I should have been lead generating, but instead I was doing this, okay? So those things would be the tasks that the admin would take to start, are the things that are pulling you out of your top 20%. And then from there, if it's a talent hire, they will start taking on more and you can start giving them more, right? If you have an admin that is just like, you've got so much of the other stuff, that they don't have time to do TC2, then you can absolutely hire a TC company or do whatever you want. That's why some of your big, huge solo agents have 2 admins. Right? Because they've got so much things going on, like they're doing all of the lead generation and then some, they're doing Popeyes, they're doing marketing, they're doing client gifts, they're, you know what I mean, they're doing so much that they don't have time to do all of it, including the TC stuff. I'm also a big proponent for knowing how to do your own TC. Like I fully understand that some people hate it, some people are not TC literate, and that is 100% okay, but I still am a big proponent for knowing how to do your own TC. You will have more of a feeling for what's closing, when it's closing, and tracking the numbers of your business if you're doing your work.
Right.
So yeah, the big thing to remember about your first hire is it is not a sales hire. Your first hire needs to be an admin. And if you are hiring a transaction coordinator for any other reason than you absolutely hate TC, you need to reevaluate and consider hiring an admin. Okay. If you are on the YouTube and have questions, give me a shout. Would love to validate some KPAs, so let me know if you want to